Number 1. Your heartbeat is not a subtle clue. You're lying in bed cozy under a blanket, no threat in sight yet. Your heart is pounding like you're sprinting from a lion in skinny jeans. This is your brain's idea of vigilance. Why? Because your nervous system was designed by evolutionary interns who couldn't decide if a twig snapping meant death or just a squirrel. To your brain fast heartbeat, danger always. But here's the twist: your brain isn't actually checking the news for updates. It's relying on vibes. Literal bodily signals like an increased heart rate or tight chest get interpreted as maybe we're about to die, even when the most dangerous thing in the room is a vibrating phone. And once your brain gets that vibe, it doesn't chill. It sends backup: adrenaline, cortisol, sweaty palms, dilated pupils, the whole red alert fireworks show. You're basically reenacting a horror movie trailer for an unpaid parking ticket you just remembered. Basically, your brain is the worst friend in a crisis. It panics with you, not for you. Number 2. Your breathing is a drama queen. Here's a fun one: you're breathing just fine until your brain notices. And then, suddenly it's like, wait, are we breathing too fast? Too slow? Are we dying? Congratulations, you've now triggered a full-body freakout over something you've done non-stop since birth. Breathing. The thing that should be on autopilot. But no, your brain grabs the wheel and swerves like a drunk raccoon. When you get anxious, your breathing often becomes shallow and rapid. This is technically your body preparing for action, but you're not sprinting across a battlefield. You're sitting in a car, trying to merge into traffic while Spotify plays passive-aggressive breakup songs. Your brain doesn't know you're not in mortal danger. It only sees weird breathing and panics harder, like a smoke alarm that freaks out because it saw steam. Welcome to the loop. You breathe weird because you're anxious, and you're anxious because you're breathing weird. It's not self-care, it's self-sabotage in slow motion. Number 3. Tunnel vision is not just for action movies. You glance around and suddenly the world looks narrower. Edges blur. Peripheral vision says BRB. Your brain's solution to perceived danger: turn you into a human horse with blinders. This is called tunnel vision. It's your brain's way of focusing on what it thinks is the threat. Which would be great if the threat weren't an email from your boss or your mother-in-law's name popping up on caller ID. Back when threats had teeth and claws, tunnel vision was helpful. You needed to see the saber-toothed tiger really clearly and not get distracted by daisies. But in modern life, it just makes you stare at a text message like it's a ticking bomb. Meanwhile, your brain's like, we're handling this narrow. The visuals sharpen the senses, but you just end up looking like you smelled something weird while reading a menu, and all of this still happening inside your skull, while absolutely nothing's trying to kill you. Number 4. Your stomach thinks it's time to evacuate. Nothing ruins lunch like a surprise anxiety attack. One moment you're enjoying a sandwich, the next your digestive system yells, "Abandon ship," and everything inside you starts packing its bags. Why? Because your brain, in its infinite prehistoric wisdom, thinks digestion is optional during danger. So it flips the switch. Saliva dries up, stomach tightens, intestines play dead, and suddenly you're either nauseous, bloated, or running to the bathroom like it's a relay race. This charming little gift comes courtesy of the enteric nervous system, aka your second brain. Yes, your gut has a brain. And guess what? It also panics. Fast. It gets messages from your stressed-out main brain and reacts like a drama student who just forgot their lines. Basically, your stomach doesn't care that you're not being chased by wolves. It hears panic and immediately hits flush all systems. So next time you're anxious and someone says, "Trust your gut, maybe," don't. Number 5. Cold hands, warm panic. You could be wrapped in 3 blankets under a heat lamp holding a cup of tea and still have hands like frozen popsicles. That's because your anxiety tells your blood to run for the hills, specifically away from your fingers and toes. When your brain thinks you're in danger, it redirects blood flow to your core to protect your vital organs. Cute. Romantic even. Except your extremities get ghosted. Literally. They turn pale, tingly cold, and if you're lucky, mildly useless. So now you've got a racing heart, weird breathing, an upset stomach, and zombie hands. All because your brain's like, slightly uncomfortable situation. Better prepare for hand-to-hand combat. Here's the kicker your blood vessels don't fact-check. They don't check if the threat is a bear or just your ex liking your post from 2018. They just constrict and hope for the best. It's like your body is prepping for medieval battle while you're trying to text your therapist. Number 6. Sweating for no reason. Again, you're sitting still, not moving, not hot, and suddenly, your armpits stage a mutiny. Welcome to anxiety-induced sweating, your body's least glamorous attempt at cooling off when it thinks you're sprinting even though you're just reading the news and spiraling. Sweat is the body's natural way to regulate temperature during physical stress. But emotional stress, that's just your brain confusing mild worry with impending doom. So now you're drenched like you just ran a marathon in a sauna, but all you did was open your bank app. Worse, the kind of sweat anxiety produces, it's stinkier. It comes from apocrine glands, the ones designed to go nuts during fear. So not only do you feel uncomfortable now, you smell like nervous energy wrapped in regret. Basically, anxiety sweat is your body's way of yelling, we're totally fine, but let's smell like we aren't. Number 7. Chest tightness. Because breathing should be a challenge. Now, there's nothing quite like the moment when your chest suddenly feels like it's wearing a weighted vest from the emotional damage collection. It's tight, heavy, like someone's slowly inflating a balloon under your ribs and daring you to exhale. This is not a heart attack, probably. It's more likely the result of your brain misfiring the emergency response system because you saw a mildly confrontational email subject line, or remembered that thing you said awkwardly in 2016. Chest tightness happens when your muscles around the lungs and diaphragm contract during stress. It's meant to help you breathe shallow and fast like a panicked squirrel. But all it does is make you feel like your lungs are locked behind a paywall. The irony. The more you focus on the tightness, the worse it gets. Your brain hears I can't breathe right and replies, say no more. Cue more. Stress. More tightness. Rinse and repeat. It's like a subscription service to your own personal air shortage. Number 8. That weird feeling of unreality. Sometimes during anxiety, your brain says, what if? None of this is real, and then hits you with a full existential crisis between sips of iced coffee. This little delight is called derealization or depersonalization. It's your brain's bizarre way of coping with extreme stress by emotionally unplugging itself. Everything looks floaty. Your voice sounds far away. You question if you're in a dream or a glitchy video game cutscene. In caveman terms, this was probably helpful. If you couldn't escape danger physically, your brain helped you emotionally disconnect, like putting earmuffs on your soul. In modern life, it's just another flavor of what the heck is happening to me. You might feel like you're watching your own life from behind glass, trying to blink back into reality, like a Sims character stuck in a loop. And the best part, the more you freak out about this feeling, the longer it sticks around. Classic anxiety move, give you a symptom and a bonus fear to go with it. So yeah, your brain master of helping in the most unhelpful way possible. Number 9. Your brain loves false alarms. If your brain were a fire alarm, it would go off when someone thinks about lighting a candle. You cough once it screams, tuberculosis. You misplace your phone. We've been robbed. A random chest twinge. Time to write your will. This is the core problem. Your brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, does not have a chill setting. It overreacts like a theater kid doing Shakespeare, loudly, and with jazz hands. Worse, the logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, often shows up late. So by the time it says, hey, we're fine, the rest of you is already halfway through a panic attack with a side of digestive regret. And the more false alarms you've had, the more sensitized your brain becomes. It's like teaching a puppy to bark every time someone thinks about knocking on the door. Eventually, you're flinching at shadows and questioning the legitimacy of your own bodily functions. Basically, your brain is the ultimate boy who cried wolf, except you're the one who gets eaten. Number 10. Muscle tension. For that full-body clench. You know that feeling when every muscle in your body slowly decides to become a steel cable neck tight, shoulders rising like bread dough, jaw clamped tighter than airport security. That's not you being dramatic. That's anxiety turning you into a human tension rod. Muscle tension is your body's ancient prep for fight or flight. In theory, it helps you run fast or throw a spear at a saber-toothed thing. But since modern problems rarely require sprinting or impaling anyone, hopefully you're just sitting at your desk, slowly fossilizing. And it's not just the obvious muscles. Anxiety tenses your face, your throat, your scalp. You ever get a weird headache that feels like it's trying to escape through your eyebrow? Yeah, that. You walk around like a stressed-out robot wondering why you're sore even though you haven't moved in 6 hours. Spoiler, your body's been flexing for a battle that never came. Basically, your muscles think they're starring in an action movie. You're just trying to return an email. Number 11. Startle reflex set to jumpy toddler. Did someone just open a bag of chips too loudly? Congratulations, you've been jump-scared by snack food. When you're anxious, your startle reflex is about as chill as a squirrel on espresso. This hypervigilance is thanks to your brain being on the lookout for anything remotely threatening. A creaky floorboard intruder, a sudden knock apocalypse, a leaf hitting your window time to write your final words. What's wild is that your brain wants to react like this. It thinks overreacting will keep you safe, because the worst-case scenario might happen, and your brain lives for worst-case scenarios. It's the Netflix algorithm of doom. So instead of calmly assessing a noise, you jolt like someone fired a gun and then spend the next 10 minutes pretending you didn't just lose 5 years of life expectancy. Your nervous system basically has the emotional maturity of a chihuahua. Number 12. Tingly limbs and numb vibes. You sit down and suddenly your hands feel like they're vibrating. Your legs numb, your face tingly. Congrats, you're either anxious or slowly turning into static electricity. This happens because anxiety messes with your circulation and oxygen flow. Hyperventilation changes your blood's CO2 levels, which throws your nervous system into an interpretive dance of confusion. Result pins, needles, weird body vibes. But your brain doesn't calmly go, oh, that's just blood flow. No, it jumps immediately to, something is wrong, you're dying, Google it. Which of course makes things worse, because you never Google calmly. You Google like a panicked raccoon wearing oven mitts. So the tingling gets worse. You worry more, and suddenly you're in a WebMD spiral that ends with an imaginary funeral. Sometimes your own body is just trolling you. Number 13. Sleep, never heard of her. You're exhausted. Your body is begging for sleep. But the moment your head hits the pillow, your brain says, let's unpack every awkward conversation you've ever had since 2003. Anxiety and sleep are enemies, mortal enemies, because to fall asleep, your body has to feel safe. But anxiety's entire brand is not feeling safe. So your brain stays up filing imaginary lawsuits against your self-worth, while your melatonin supply just gives up and goes home. Even worse, your body might finally doze off, only to jerk awake an hour later like it remembered taxes exist. That's your nervous system running a midnight fire drill. For no reason. Just vibes. And don't get us started on anxiety dreams. Why is your subconscious staging interpretive horror theater about being naked in high school? Who's writing these scripts? So now you're sleep-deprived and anxious, and guess what sleep deprivation causes? More anxiety. You're in a loop. A horrible, exhausting loop like a carnival ride operated by an intern with no training. Basically, your brain is pulling an all-nighter about how tired it is. Number 14. Emotionally whiplash. 1 minute you're fine. The next, you're crying over a dog food commercial. Then suddenly you're irritated by the way someone is breathing too loud. Sound familiar? Anxiety makes your emotions swing like they're on a playground during a windstorm. That's because your limbic system, the part of your brain in charge of feelings, gets hijacked during stress. Subtle triggers become landmines. Minor setbacks feel like cosmic injustice, and your patience evaporates faster than your paycheck. Even good emotions can trigger anxiety. Ever feel weirdly panicky right after getting good news? That's your brain panicking about what could go wrong next. Because why celebrate when you can catastrophize? So your mood starts spinning like a TikTok trend. And when people ask, "Are you okay?" the real answer is, define okay. I cried at a cheese commercial, and now I'm researching underground bunkers. Your emotional weather forecast. Unstable with a chance of crying in the car. Number 15. The ultimate mix-up anxiety. Feels like death. This is the grand finale. The messed up cherry on top. Anxiety can mimic so many physical symptoms, chest pain, dizziness, numbness, shortness of breath, that your brain genuinely can't tell the difference between "I'm anxious" and "I'm dying." Because fear lives in your body, not just your head. Your fight or flight response floods you with sensations that were meant to save your life. But in modern life, it just makes you spiral in a CVS parking lot because you drank one iced coffee too fast. And when your brain detects those physical changes, it panics about the panic. Is this a heart attack? A stroke? Is my soul trying to exit my body via my kneecaps? No, Brenda, it's anxiety. But it feels like dying, so the fear gets bigger. And round we go. It's not you being dramatic. It's your nervous system doing too much. All the time, like an overachiever who mistakes every minor inconvenience for a full-blown emergency. In conclusion, your brain's not broken, it's just very confused. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.